Alrighty. So, hey everybody, welcome to Steve Couper's podcast number 5 for aspiring real estate investors. In each episode, we connect to seasoned investors um, and industry subject matter experts who are eager to share their experiences and tips for success in real estate investing. And today, I'm super excited because for this podcast, like I said, number 5, I'm thrilled to welcome Amy Kim. Amy is a seasoned investor. She's got experience working through flips and burrs and now working on major developments. There's a lot of interesting activity that you bring to the table and the experiences you have. And I look forward to discussing those with you and finding out more about what's making Amy tick. So welcome. Did I get everything correct with this?
Yes, you're right. Yes, and also I did a little bit of Airbnb as well.
Oh, I didn't know about that. So let's start off with a little bit of background. So, have you always been in real estate, or is there something that you were doing prior to investing that led you to this? What's brought you to where you are now?
Yes, a great question. I was in IT industry for over 20 years before I actually started working on real estate investing full time. So now I'm thinking actually before I came to Canada, I bought an apartment in a unit just for myself. But then instead of just we moved in, we actually did a renovation prior to moving in. So I guess that was my first the renovation project, even before starting, a new journey, new chapter in a real estate in Canada. So that was a long time ago, 2006, I would say. And yeah, it was a really good project as well.
There you go. There you go. So that's how you got your feet wet. I similarly have. I think we all have experience with renovating something, painting a room, or if it's adding something to your house. It's always a spark that lights up, and you say to yourself, I can do more. I can do more."
Yes,
And so you've
exactly.
your background.
Yes, and when I was working in IT industry,
Go ahead.
oh, I just want to try to explain that how I get into real estate from IT industry.
Hmm.
Or do you want to ask questions? Then I will maybe answer.
I think it's a conversation. It can go either way you want, but I am curious to know. So that transition from IT into real estate, was that something that was a change? You stopped doing IT and you went to real estate, or was it progressive? Did you do both for a while and now you're full-time real estate? How did that work?
Yeah, so I guess I wasn't really sure like what I wanted to do, but then I kind of understand that my bank account wasn't growing enough compared to considering the older amount of work and time and devoting to the work. So I kind of probably felt that I needed something. I needed some changes to make, and um, couple years back, like 7 years. So 5 years ago, I started my business. I set up a new corporation and started working on real estate full time. But before 5 years ago, like 2 years before that, I actually injured my ankle when I was on a vacation in Mexico. And I had a lot of time resting on the bed. And actually, I was going through some traumas about that event. So I started to studying how I could overcome that trauma I was going through. So I was feeling a lot of guilt that I ruined the family vacation, and also that the time that I broke my ankle. So it was just replayed in my head again and again and again. So then when I read the books about, actually there are a lot of similarity between the life and the movies. So when olden days, when we go to old cinema, there is pieces of slides and they all together. And when they start to play, it become a movie. And there are a lot of horror, the slice of the movie, it become a horror movie. If there's a lot of good memories of the slices, then it become a good movie, happy ending movie. If it has a lot of sad pieces of the slide, it become a sad movie. So it's the same with our life. So if we could replace all those traumas and bad memories with happy memories, and now we have a control, we can make our life a happy ending and happy life.
Wow, that's pretty deep. Good for you. Good for you.
Yes.
And so that was a pivot point, right? So you came out of that saying, I'm doing something different.
Right. So then I was very fascinated with those willpower and our psychology behind in all the human beings' behaviors. And also that led to me like I need to do something to change my life and make it better than rely on somebody and working for someone to to do something for me. So there will be nobody gonna do something for me other than myself. So that led me to how can I do how I can make a changes. Sorry, so there's another book actually. I realized that when I was reading books like that on while I was on bed, there's another book that I read that was about cash flow quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, and that just opened up my eyes to entire world that I never even knew that it was existing. So there's like left quadrant and right quadrant, and people in the left quadrant all trading their time for money. So that means they have to keep working. When they stop working, money stops coming in. And then the people in the right quadrant, because now they have a system, they own the system, they own the asset and business. So even though they stop working and trading their time, but now they creating the money. So that was something like eye-opening for me. So I gotta make changes to move from left quadrant to the right quadrant. And what do I need to do that? And that was the very beginning of started having interest in real estate investing.
It's amazing how many people I talk to have Robert Kiyosaki to thank for transitioning, for changing their mindset. I know when I first read Rich Dad Poor Dad, it was like, oh my goodness, that's me they're talking about, and it wasn't on the correct side of things. Certainly, so many mistakes or so many lessons we learn from through our childhood and from our parents. They go out, get a job, earn a decent pay. You're working for working, spending your time to earn money, and the lessons learned and other philosophy are all about making sure that your money is working for you. And if we want to achieve time freedom, then we need to actually find a way to do that.
Yes, 100%. So I am big on educating. So when someone who just started a real estate, they're asking, so what should I do? What is most important for me to start get going? Uh, I often recommend that I always empathize enough that like, educating, the number one asset is us. So we have to educate ourselves because we know we can only do so much based on what we know. So if we started educating what tools are out there, and that's when we can do something about it. But like you mentioned, our previous generation, our parents, they don't know any better, right? So that they had to follow what most of people know, like get a better education, better, go to the university and then get a good job. And then that's how the world is supposed to work because that's all they know.
Yeah, yeah, so true, so very true. So, how do you come by the brand of being the home alchemist? How tell me the background for that.
Yes, I love talking about this story. So there's a really interesting story behind it. So one thing is that that's the book. There is a book called The Alchemist, and that's the book I read when I was in Korea. And I always have a burning desire. I wanted to, you know, come to Western country and and to see what the opportunities are out there, right? And in Korea, it's a very man-dominant society at that time. It's changed a lot, but that time, it's like 15 years ago still, and I was going through the divorce, and I didn't want to raise my kids in Korea because there's lots of judgment, like oh they grow up, they will be grown in a broken family, and I don't want to have that, stigmas on my children, when they are growing up, and also I want them to have that opportunities as much as male, has that. So that's the reason why I always wanted to come to Western countries.
Mm.
And after I married, my dream, almost like I forgot almost about my dream that I wanted to come to a Western country. And when I read the book, it just reminded of me that I have to pursue my dreams.
There you go.
And yes, so that was one thing. And the second thing is that, the alchemist does transforming something ugly and there's no value to something valuable and something amazing. So I thought that the things that I am doing, what I'm doing is that I buy ugly houses and transforming beautiful and modern housings for people like owners or renters. So I thought might be a really good name to present what I'm doing and then what my values are. That's
That's
how I
perfect.
came with the Home Alchemist. And because I'm Amy Kim, so there's K there. I came from South Korea, so why don't I play a little bit? So instead of CH, I put like K. So I
There we go. I think it's brilliant. No, I was curious about that. So,
awesome.
you've got into the business now of real estate. You started off small, and now you're reaching for the stars. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, so you know what? For me, I love being creative. I love being innovative. I love do something a little bit different. It's because the culture I came from is a little bit different. So I think a little bit of a benefit that I could see a little bit out of the box that most people grow up here and live here. So every time I do projects, I always see like what I've done good, what I have done good. There's something that I could have done better. So then I start with a fix and flip, one single family house. And at the end of the project, the market went down. And also there was a lot of rely on the market condition and the buyer's, condition as well. So there's two things that I didn't like much about the fix and flip. So um, how can I do better for the next one? So instead of doing fix and flip, I started doing Airbnb for the first project because I couldn't exit the way that I wanted because of those two main factors. So then the second project, instead of rely on the market, how can I do better? How can I have better control over this? So then instead of doing fix and flip, I started doing the fix and flip instead of I'm doing hold hold for the longer terms, right? So in order to do that, I got an appraisal done as is, but also as complete. So I would have like scope of work figured it out and the basement suite I wanted to put it in. So then I would have an appraisal based on the upstairs, the renovation is complete, and also adding the legal basement suite, which would create another second income from the basement suite. So in case I won't be able to sell, then now I have option to hold it for longer term instead of doing the Airbnb. Airbnb just lots of effort. That's like assumes a lot of time. So I didn't wish to repeat the same mistake.
Did
So
you? Sorry, you carry on. Carry on.
no, you go ahead.
I was going to ask. So, when you were doing the Airbnb, did you have a team supporting you, or were you the team?
Yes. So it was a lot of learning curve, right? I never done an Airbnb. So we had to inject more funds to have the furniture ready and all the beddings and the supplies like that. So there was a more capital needed for that, but also didn't have the system. So I hired Airbnb manager to initiate all the preparation. So it seems to be working pretty good at the beginning, but later on, the margin was getting thinner and thinner because the structure that we had between my Airbnb manager and myself, so it wasn't really working. So I have to let him go, and ended up I started to build my own systems and managing by myself. So that was a lot of a learning curve, a lot of effort, and then time.
Yeah, no, that is certainly intense, certainly.
Exactly.
So I interrupted you, so I'll let you get back to your story about how you progressed through to where you are now.
Yes. So from the fix and flip, and then I pivoted my business model to, the BOR strategies. And in order to do that, I like to mitigate the risk. I didn't want to find out the value of the property after renovation done at the end of the project. So I would like to figure out the positive value from the beginning of a project so that I can do reverse engineer. So, okay, so what is the post value will be and how much the renovation would be, and then, okay, then how much margin I can have. So based on those numbers, then now I know how much I can purchase the project.
Mhm. Yeah, no, this is an interesting shift in mindset to be looking at the end and then tracing your steps backwards instead of finding yourself disappointed at the end with an ARV that's not there. Very good. So, I mean, what you're undertaking now is leaps and bounds from that Airbnb. This isn't minor steps. You're now looking at a 32 unit development in Edmonton. So
Right.
there's a bunch of the story that's missing. Tell me about the stuff you
That's right. So what I did was a year before last year, in one summer, I happened to acquire three buildings, and one of them was Aplex turnkey, so I didn't need to do any more work there. But there's another one was brand new townhomes. So four townhomes with the unfinished four basements with. So I saw it as opportunity. Why don't I convert it from 4 to 8? So um, that was one project. And there's another project I acquired was a side-by-side duplex. It was old, building. I would say built in 90, 70-ish. So we had to renovate both upstairs and then adding legal basement suite. So it was like all 4 unit we have to renovate, and that cost me around 200,000. And then interesting thing was that four brand new townhomes also we're looking at 200,000 to add all four basement suite. And that's when I had like aha moment. Like I really like this business model because first, number one, this building, the upstairs already all done, brand new, or ready to rent. So while we are working on the basement suite, we have already some, income from the upstairs. And then second of all, 200,000 is same the capital you need to renovate, but this is brand new. So not like the other project. The other project is old. So when you open up, wall, there's always something unforeseen and surprises, right? And that always increase the scope of work. But this one is brand new. All the walls are all exposed. I know exactly what's behind the wall. So we don't need to worry about this. So it was just so much fun.
Yeah.
And I really like that model, right? Based on that, those factors, and also um, it takes only 6 months to do the renovation and to get the financing. So the turnaround is also very fast. Yeah. So that's what, like, this is what I wanted to do. So I was able to acquire that building. I've been like looking for a building like brand new 8 suite, but because of a pandemic, the builders are scared. Even they weren't sure how much the materials, the price is gonna go up during those of time. And there's so much uncertainties. So I pivoted. Instead of building brand new from the scratch, I was able to acquire brand new 4 townhomes. And just for me, I just need to finish the basement suite. So there are lots of, let those builder do all the heavy, lift and then heavy work. And then I would just go in at the end and then just adding 4 basement suites. So it was much easier, less scope of work and way less risk during the pandemic, right? So I was able to acquire a little bit under 1.3 million, to be exact, 1.22 million, and I put a 200,000 in, and after that, and I stabilize all the tenants, because I understand that there are lots of out of the cities and province investors looking for this type of investment. So for them, they are looking for turnkey. They want to have the cash flow from day one of the position. So I stabilized all the rents and then was able to sell very easy for 1.92 million.
Wow. So 500,000 lift.
Yes, more or less. There's some financing cost, but it was really good project considering the amount of work and amount of this, the period that I had to work on that project.
So
Yes.
you managed to actually, from start to finish, that was like 6 months, or that was just under a year? How long did that take?
Good question. So I had a challenge. Like there's always challenge whenever we work on a new project, right? So the challenge with this project was that the builder who built this as a 4 townhomes didn't have the vision as the eightplex. So when it comes to building code between 4 townhomes and then 8 units is totally different animals. So now have to go with the kind of apartment, close to apartment building code. So the builder didn't have that separation fire, a separation wall between second and the third house. And there's no way now I can add that after everything is done. So then we had to find out some innovative way of still able to convert it to the 8 units. So it took me some time to find the right architect who is confident enough to challenge the city and get the variance approved. Wow. So yes, it took me like 6 months or so to find out the challenge first, and how can I solve these challenges, and then find the right architect. So I think it took me around like 6 months to do so, and then it takes me around 6 months or 8 months to finish the project. So I would just say it was around more than a year to complete this.
Some amazing challenges you've overcome with that. Really, right? And so that gets you to 8, but now
yes.
you're to 32.
Yes. So I really like this project. How can I repeat the same model again? And when I came back from my 1 year traveling and doing nothing, just healing myself, using as a healing time, I came back to market, and guess what happened? Everybody now wants a plex. And also builders aware of this too. So then builders got smarter, and like instead of selling 4 new townhomes with unfinished basement, if they could make 8 unit all finished, they know they can sell for more and make more money. Right. So it was really hard to finding anything like that anymore. So I started to, hunting for the next project, and I started to see what the markets are offering as of today. And I saw some opportunities there that instead building 8plex in 150 by 150 lot, why don't I find, so I saw that builder out there, there's a 1/3 of lot size. However, now it comes with the land, so that I can build a house and the basement suite, and then also adding 2 more suites in the backyard. So if we're thinking about the price per unit of the eightplex up and down, now there's, so altogether eight, they're selling around 2 million or 2.2 million now. So if we're thinking about the price per unit up and down, they are looking at between 500 to 600,000, right? And I saw the builders are selling the land with the house and the basement suite finished. They are selling a little bit under 550,000. And then I saw as opportunity because that house is detached. So they are not sharing the walls, has a better privacy, but also it comes to the land that is a space that I can put 2 more units in it.
Right.
So then like, oh, this is the opportunity, you know, and it's even better product than eightplex, and then the better price as well. So I started to talking to builder and how many lots do you guys have? And then they have multiple, you know, the areas, and there's one areas that has a better 200 amp, and while the most of the land they're offering 100 or 150 amp, but this one offered 200 amp, which should be, you know, big enough to accommodate 4 units. So then I found like this is what I wanted. So then we acquired 8 lots, and then now we are acquiring 8 lots and with 8 homes with the 1 builders. But then once we take a position on those 8 homes, we're going to add basement suite and then 2 backyard suite per lots. So that means, so altogether it's a 4, and I have 8 lots. So times 3 times 8. So sorry, 4 times 8, that's 32 units. That's how we have 32 units I'm working on.
Yeah, that's amazing. We had a chance to go look at it and see where you're at. It's just absolutely wonderful. I can't get over it, how much you're taking on there. And so you don't have a degree in engineering or developing. You've got experience and hard knocks and lessons learned, and you're taking it to the developers and the builders and challenging them. And they're saying, okay, Amy, let's do this.
Yes, actually, that's a very interesting story. You know, like when you work with a big, one of the biggest builder in Edmonton, they have all system. It's been more than 60 years they've been using this same system. So they have no room to accommodate any customized layouts, you know, that which I wanted to have, because I have that vision that how, like I would like to maximize all underutilized spaces to maximize the income of the rentals, right? And when I showed my idea, like I would like to have 2 bedrooms. This builder been only building 1 basement, the bedroom suite. So I asked them, can we do 2? And then they say no. And okay, so then I had to develop my own design. So a couple weeks later, we have another meeting this builder because we want to make sure all the transitioning between the phase 1 and the phase 2 going smooth. So there's lots of overlap items. So we've been continuously working together, and I challenged them again. So once I have the basement, the design done with the 2 bedrooms, I showed to the builder, are you sure you don't want to build based on this? And then they say like, it's kind of a little bit too late, so we cannot do this. But then like I show them what that means, adding 1 more bedroom, like what that means in terms of you know, value of the product, right? So then I show them from the investor's point of view, adding 1 bedroom, how it changed the value of the entire product, right? And then they start to see the value. Oh, okay. So they don't necessarily understand how investors would look at their product, and they start to see those values, right? And also I gave even other ideas that, do you realize, guys, that within your zoning, with your zone size, the lot size, actually, you guys can build 4 levels instead of 3 levels. And then when we adding 1 more level on the top, now we can create 2 suites, you know, the second and the third, the floor as a 1 unit, and the main floor and the basement as another unit. So before that, with their existing model, they can probably rent around 3,000, right? 2,000 upstairs and the basement 1,000. Let's just say I'm just a little bit more conservative. I know it can be a little bit more than that. I'm just gonna be like a little bit conservative. But when we add one more floor on the top, now we can rent for 2,000 for the upstairs and then close to 2,000 for the main and the basement, because now we have 2 bedrooms in the basement and then kitchen and then living room on the main floor. So we can increase it from the 3,000 to 4,000. So I did a little bit of math, what that means in terms of the the investing return. So when you add 1,000 more and then we have 8 more suite of this, so that's 8,000 and times 12. That was, I think I have to do the math. Okay, let me tell you. So 1,000 times 8 times 12. So that's 96,000 more per year, right? So that's NOI, additional NOI we are getting, and divided by, let's say it's 5% cap rate. How much is that?
Yeah, there's your 2 million. It's amazing,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So I showed it to them, this is how much we are adding value to the property. And they just like, their eyes are like, oh my God, yes. And they really now taking serious. And actually what happened is I had a meeting a couple of days ago and the builders just confirmed me, actually they are developing a brand new product line based on the suggestions that I provided.
Nice. Good for you.
Yes.
Good for you.
Yes, this is a huge, it's a monumental moment that a big giant company start to looking and understanding the market needs from the investors' perspective.
So it's huge. It really is huge. Good for you.
Yes, and
You
also I'm
really,
surprised
you really should be
that,
very proud of yourself.
yes, I'm very happy because it's not just it's gonna help my future project easier, but also can you imagine what kind of impact we are making in terms of housing solutions?
Right. I mean, this is the deal, right? We're in a housing crisis right now. There's not enough housing for all of the people that need it. So this will just contribute immensely. It's wonderful.
Yes. So I'm super excited and I feel so grateful that I get to have this opportunity working with a builder and we are developing the product line together.
Yeah, no, that's huge. Hey, tell me, so um, as we're running close to the end of this podcast, so what are your goals? What does success look like? How are you going to know when you've achieved success?
Oh, very good question. So I learned couple years back, I felt burnt out after I acquired 3 buildings. And I had a burning desire. I don't want to go back to where I was again, but I love traveling. I want to continue the lifestyle I want.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't want to go back to where I was. So then I felt that I needed some systems that free my time so I don't need to work in the project all the time. So I think that is the happiness that I have a freedom to be able to focus on what I love to do when I love to do things, right? So I started to develop the system that now is creating the deals flows in the pipeline. So that's also is huge savings on the time and then effort as well. So instead of looking for a new project every time all the time, now I have this system. I figured it out what I want to do and how much will be and the cost and where I'm going to find this deal for land. So then now I'm working with the distributor and they promised that they're going to give me first priority. So we already had a meeting with their upcoming projects and where they're coming and when they're coming, how many lots like that. So I have lots of insider information that's not available to the public.
That's
And
amazing. That's really amazing.
yes, so I'm so happy. And also, so this is the thing. So like once we build this kind of system, now I don't need to be in Edmonton all the time. And also I'm building a team working with me as well. So they will be the one executing from the beginning to the end, but I will create all those skill flows, and then there's a system. So it should be running as a semi-autopilot mode. So that will allow me to do more project while I have time to enjoy what I want to do.
Well, 2 minutes left. What do you want to do? Where does that?
Yeah, so like my goals is that I would like to contribute, creating a contribution to this community and offering better housing solutions, and that offering also the higher densification so that more people coming in and they can have affordable housing, right? And that's also I wanted to do, but also I like to continue creating these systems in Edmonton, but also I like to expand this system in a different countries and different cities as well. So that's maybe probably down the road within 5 years, 10 years. That's another vision I have.
Take this show on the road.
There we
Okay,
go.
well, I think that we need to wrap it up. I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. It's been a true pleasure getting to understand your journey further and getting a little bit of insight into what makes Amy tick. You really got a powerful mind and a vision, and you're able to actually see opportunity where others might miss it. Really well done. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure talking to you and getting to know you better.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my honor to be on your podcast.
Thank you.